This week on Ebert and Roeper, Detective Robert De Niro investigates his son for murder in City by the Sea.
Also, Tom Hanks goes to the really big screen in Apollo 13, the IMAX experience.
And Stephen Dorff does battle with a cyber killer in feardotcom.
Joey's my son. His mother and me are divorced.
Jesus, sir, I'm sorry.
Put a one out for him.
Robert De Niro is a cop whose father was a killer and whose son may be a killer, too, in City by the Sea. It's one of the new movies we'll be reviewing this week, and I'm Roger Ebert.
And I'm Richard Roeper. Our first movie is Fear.com. Now, that's a catchy title, and it represents the first and last original thing about this drab and tired would-be horror flick. Working from what appears to be a half-finished screenplay, director William Malone seems to think he can hide the ludicrous story and protect the hapless cast if he shrouds them in darkness and rain in just about every scene. You'd think that nobody in this movie had paid his electric bill, but luckily their computers and TVs work. That's Natasha McElhone as a health inspector investigating the mysterious virus afflicting visitors to the fear.com site. But that phantom image is never explained. It's one of countless false leads and red herrings that add up to nothing. Stephen Dorff plays a cop who becomes a little too intrigued by fear.com.
Do you want to hurt me, Mike?
Jeannie.
I know who you are, and I know what you really want.
Dorff teams up with McElhone and, of course, falls for her as they track the murderous madman behind the website.
You don't go there, all right? Promise me. Tell me you won't go there! Don't go there! Promise me you won't go there!
But, of course, McElhone does log on to the site because she's a dim, one-dimensional puppet, just like every other character in this movie, including the killer, played by Stephen Ray as a low-rent Hannibal Lecter type. The players in Fear.com are moving about in what we're told is New York City, but they operate in a total vacuum. We're told that thousands of internet users have subscribed to this site. Are they all bleeding from the eyes and dying horrible deaths? And why does everyone in this movie, even those who haven't logged on to the site, seem to be in some kind of weird zombie state? Fear.com is more frustrating than a modem that disconnects every 10 seconds.
Okay, now I agree with everything you said, and I'm going to give the movie thumbs down.
All right.
And it doesn't make any sense, and the screenplay is awful, but
Right.
instead of just piling on, I want to talk about what's good about the film, and that's the art direction and the cinematography, especially in the last 20 minutes.
What?
When basically the whole movie goes inside the site, and if you could look at the last 20 minutes with the sound off and forget about the plot, forget about the characters, it's brilliant filmmaking.
I didn't see one shred of brilliance and no change in the quality of the cinematography or the art production of this film in the last 20 minutes. I don't know if you wandered into another theater where they were showing something else.
No, I didn't walk into another theater. What the director does is he's able to get a consistent view of this New York City, which he actually shot in Luxembourg, where it rains all the time, it's night, it looks like everything has just survived an air raid. I like that look. I like also the editing and the use of sound at the end when the climax is coming. It's technically very well done.
Well, it's technically interesting, I'll give you that, but it has no relation to the script, and the actors are just flouncing about. Like I said, I don't know what they're doing in this movie, and it certainly doesn't have a story that's worth anybody checking out.
I'm not recommending the film, but I'm just saying how unusual it is in such a bad film to see such good stuff.
Great.
Okay, our next movie made my best 10 list in 1995, and Apollo 13 plays just as well and actually looks a little better in its upcoming re-release in the big screen IMAX format. The giant screen enhances Ron Howard's drama about the moon mission that was aborted after an onboard explosion. The return trip was literally improvised on a wing, a prayer, and duct tape. The launching sequence was impressive in 1995 and looks even more so in IMAX. The onboard astronauts, Lovell, Swigert, and Hayes, are played by Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, and Bill Paxton, and they radio home with an unforgettable message.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem. We have a main bus B undervolt.
We've got a lot of thruster activity here in Houston. It just went offline. Ed Harris plays Mission Controller Gene Kranz, and his performance is a study in the art of the well-timed reaction shot.
The more time we talk down here, the more juice they waste up there. I've been looking at the data for the past hour.
That's the deal?
That's the deal.
Okay, John. The minute we finish the burn, we'll power down the limb.
Apollo 13 will always be linked with the right stuff, where the first astronauts complained they were just spam in a can with little to do but go along for the ride. In Apollo 13, it's the spacecraft that seems so puny and helpless and dependent on the ability of its crew. When the level of CO2 grows dangerously high, scientists in Houston try to improvise a way to scrub it by literally fitting a square filter into a round housing using only materials that the astronauts will find on the spaceship. And that's only one of a list of things that absolutely can't go wrong. These astronauts are going to survive. It's a terrific adventure.
It's a great American adventure and a wonderful film to bring to IMAX. You know, I love the IMAX format. Everybody who goes and sees the concert films or the documentaries say, wow, isn't this amazing? But it's about IMAX when you see those films. This is about seeing a great movie transferred to IMAX. I know they cut some of the length of the film, but I don't think it really hurt the story. And I thought it looked tremendous. You don't have that graininess you thought you might get because of the way they did this process.
No, you know, they did. They cut about 20 minutes out of the movie, and they also trimmed a little bit off the side, which I'm usually opposed to, because even at IMAX, I don't see why you can't have a wide screen. It's still such a big screen, but nevertheless, it's a new rethinking of the whole process for IMAX, digitally remastered. And it was effective. The only thing I would say is you shouldn't sit too close to the screen because it's a very big screen.
I like to sit way toward the back of the theater. And some of these opening shots, the overhead shots of NASA, the headquarters, and of course you mentioned, you know, the liftoff and everything. I mean, they're amazing, and you don't see that it's a model, or you don't see the special effects advertising themselves, even blown up to this size on IMAX.
You see the ice falling off the side of the craft, and you think that's got to be real.
Well, that's another thing you get with IMAX, of course, is the amazing sound on all sides.
Coming up later in the show, Robert De Niro is a cop on the toughest case of his life in City by the Sea.
I think my son might have killed a cop the other night.
And coming up next, our expanded Thumbs Up video segment covering 6 movies, all just arriving in stores.
Ebert and Roeper's Thumbs Up video is brought to you by Nestle Raisinets. At the movies or at home, Raisinets.
Out of the depths I cry unto thee, O Lord. Lord, hear my voice.
My first thumbs up video this week is the intense and moving Vietnam War picture, We Were Soldiers. Mel Gibson grew up in Australia, but he has played the quintessential, fiercely protective American dad in films as varied as The Patriot and Ransom, and in 2 excellent 2002 releases. Gibson is a widower with 2 young children in the current smash hit Signs, and in We Were Soldiers, he plays Lieutenant Colonel Hale Moore, who was a father at home and a father figure on the battlefield. It's 1965, and America is about to be plunged deep into war.
Pass the word on. Every man, fire 3 rounds, and anything looks suspicious to him. On my signal.
Moore's wife, played by Madeline Stowe, faces an equally challenging mission at home.
I'll take it to her. And tell the cab company if there are any others, just bring them to me.
The DVD includes commentary from writer-director Randall Wallace.
A lot of people assume that all of Vietnam is somehow rice paddy and rainforest, but that is not the case.
A behind-the-scenes documentary and 10 deleted scenes.
They just retreat, and then they'd come again. We won't run the little bastards back home, sir. They are home.
In stores September 10th is another movie about the Vietnam War. It's called Green Dragon. In the spring of 1975, as Saigon was toppling, tens of thousands of South Vietnamese fled to the United States, where they were housed in makeshift quarters on U.S. military bases. Patrick Swayze plays the officer in charge of the refugees at Camp Pendleton.
No one is allowed to leave this camp without permission.
Also new on video is Crush, in which Andie MacDowell gives her most complete performance yet as a teacher in the English countryside who falls for a former student, much to the dismay of her best girlfriends.
Look, what is the problem? We've met. We've met again since. We had sex. It's nice. I like it. I like him. You should be pleased for me and him.
Oh, Kitty.
What?
The plot takes a mean twist, and you might enjoy the first two-thirds of the film more than the wobbly resolution, but Crush is worth seeing for the sharp dialogue and the fine acting from McDowell.
Okay, my first thumbs-up video this week is a Robert Altman classic finally available on DVD. The Long Goodbye from 1973, starring Elliot Gould, is a movie where he plays Raymond Chandler's hero, Philip Marlowe, the man who first talked about mean streets, and it was also played over the years by Bogart, Mitchum, and many others. Altman is less interested in plot than atmosphere, and Gould's Marlowe is a muttering, meandering, and distracted guy, even when he's only trying to feed his cat.
Well, come on. There it is. So it's not Curry's cat food. It's okay with me.
Sterling Hayden and Nina Von Pauwent, who became infamous in the Clifford Irving forgery case, co-star as an alcoholic writer and his bewitching wife. They're involved somehow in a murder and a missing person.
You owe me $4,400. You will pay me what you owe me.
No, actually, I don't wish to pay you what I owe you.
This is a good movie. Philip Marlowe has been played in many different ways, but this is the first time the private eye has seemed not only private, but downright antisocial, a lonely man who has deliberately chosen a lonely profession. There are two other new DVDs I also want to recommend. Firefly, a 1987 movie by Barbet Schroeder, is a neglected classic of grit, starring Mickey Rourke in his best performance. He plays a drunk who's sometimes a poet, or a poet who is sometimes a drunk, and who spends his days in a gut bucket bar.
Hey, what's this?
You're not going to believe this, but that's an income tax refund. I found it in the mailbox of the old place.
You mean you worked last year?
6 months in a toy factory. You don't know how men suffer for children.
And I'm also recommending another new DVD in a completely different spirit, and that would be Anaconda, which got generally awful reviews when it came out in 1997. I was one of the few critics who liked it, but I grinned widely at its story of an expedition into the Amazon in search of the largest snakes alive. Jennifer Lopez stars as the leader of the mission, and John Voight plays a slimy river rat.
Snakes. Snake. I catch them. For zoos and collectors. Whatever they want.
Poaching?
Poaching is illegal.
The critics just didn't understand the spirit of this movie, which wants to be a gloriously tacky B picture and succeeds brilliantly.
You know, you were doing so well until you got to Anaconda, but the other five movies we mentioned are all worth seeing, so thank you for those fine picks.
Okay, coming up next, Robert De Niro and Frances McDormand star in City by the Sea.
Anything happens to him, then you'll answer to me.
I didn't shoot that cop.
Joey?
Yeah, did you hear me? I didn't shoot him.
Joey.
I didn't shoot him.
Well, somebody did, because I just let the wife and daughter crying their eyes out. Joey, somebody did.
Robert De Niro plays a veteran cop in City by the Sea, and James Franco is his son, who is the leading suspect in the murder of a drug dealer. For the De Niro character, this family agony goes even deeper because his own father was also a convicted murderer. He's a cop to the bone, but when his son is involved, he finds unexpected feelings surfacing. Feelings he's buried since he walked out on the boy and his mother 14 years earlier.
This is something you can't run away from. You can't. You can't run.
You believe me?
It doesn't matter what I believe. When you plead self-defense, you got a good chance of getting off to maybe 6 years.
The cop has been dating his downstairs neighbor, played by Frances McDormand, and he turns to her to talk about feelings he's had bottled up ever since he was a kid.
When my old man did what he did, I felt so bad. I felt like I was the criminal. No way was I ever going to feel that way again. I was going to be so good that nobody could ever pin anything on me. That was my choice. But now it doesn't matter whether your old man's a cop or a murderer. Bottom line is some kid's father's not coming home anymore.
This cop lives by the book, but his feelings about his son get in the way during an argument with his chief.
I believe him.
He's your son. Of course you want to believe him.
Chief, I've been a cop for 25 years. I ought to know
The operative word is cop, Vince. That doesn't mean you're sometimes a cop and sometimes some junkie's father. You're either a cop or you're not a cop. End of story.
City by the Sea has many of the usual conventions of crime pictures, but De Niro brings another element to it. His father let him down, and he let down his son, and now, when it may be too late, he wants to help the kid. It's only human. The movie was directed by Michael Caton Jones, who also directed De Niro in another movie about a father and a son, This Boy's Life, in 1993. And the family feelings in City by the Sea, not the action, are the reason to see this movie.
Yeah, I would agree with you completely. I liked a lot of the smaller scenes. You also mentioned the relationship with Frances McDormand, and they have a relationship of kind of, you know, they're going to be falling in love and having this Romeo and Juliet type of thing. It's kind of it's tenderness, and it's quiet, and it's about companionship, and it's a real nice piece of acting from both of them. The investigation isn't much of an investigation. The caper part, or, you know, figuring out who did it, that's not what this movie is about. It's about coming to terms with who you are.
It's about these people, and what's amazing is that this is based on a true story. Mike McClary wrote this article in Esquire magazine, I think, in 1997. It's about a real cop and a real relationship, and Patti LuPone does a good job playing his first wife.
Yeah, I think so. Really more for the acting, the supporting performances, and the nice writing about the relationship than the crime aspect of it. Okay, our next movie is The Last Kiss. This was the winner of 5 Italian Oscars and the World Cinema Audience Award at Sundance. This is a lively, sexy, and funny romp about commitment and temptation and infidelity, done up with a singular, robust Italian flavor. It has kind of a 1965 feel, with all these great-looking people torn between the safety and sanity of monogamy and the wonderful madness of fresh love. Stefano Accorsi plays Carlo, ringleader of a bunch of 30-ish men who won't grow up. Carlo's pregnant girlfriend, Giulia, is played by the beautiful Giovanna Mezzogiorno, but he's proof of that cruel but not entirely untruthful adage, show me a gorgeous woman and I'll show you a guy who's tired of being with her.
Che pensi?
Pensi che avresti voglia di correrle dietro e dirle che è stato bello conoscerla? È stato bello veramente. Ragazzi, guardate qui.
Marco Cocci and the great Stefania Sandrelli play Giulia's parents, who are going through their own relationship crisis.
Puoi spegnere il televisore quando ti parlo?
Perché?
Perché non parliamo mai.
Ti prego, non ricominciare anche stasera.
Stasera è successa una cosa tremenda. Ho invidiato mia figlia perché...
Faced with becoming a grandmother and living out her days with an inattentive husband, Sandrelli makes one last grab for romantic love. In the meantime, her pregnant daughter begins to suspect Carlo of an affair, and with good reason, as he's contemplating a last fling with a teenage temptress. His buddies, a womanizer, a new father, and a rejected boyfriend, are just as confused. The 4 of them hatch a plot to leave town, but what they really want to do is travel back in time and be 18 years old again. The Last Kiss travels familiar territory, but it does so with a lot of style, flair, and sly wit.
It didn't work for me. I thought it was all over the map. There were so many different story strands introduced here that it was like a pilot for a miniseries. And if they just kind of concentrated on the hero and his teenage girlfriend and his wife and so forth, but then you have the whole side story of the mother and her former boyfriend who was remarried and now has a 1-year-old child, and you have all of the, buying the van and they want to go to Africa. There was just so much going on that the emotional impact of anything in particular was diluted.
See, I think that's what makes this film work. It's like an Italian kitchen. There's all kinds of stuff going on here, and they really fill up the screen with all these stories.
They should only serve one meal.
So I disagree. I think I like all the different courses in this film, and the story of the mother is wonderful because it's not the way you think it would
Okay, so why not make a movie about her?
Well, you know what? You can make a movie about her. Hey, I'm not going to complain about there being...
I get whiplash to trying to figure out what's going to happen next.
A movie with too many good characters and stories, I have no problem with that.
Okay, when we come back, we'll take another look at some of the best movies in theaters over Labor Day, including Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo and Jennifer Aniston in The Good Girl.
And looking ahead to next week, we'll have a special show profiling the parallel careers of Tom Hanks and Tom Cruise. We're calling it Hanks and Cruise, Hollywood's Big Gun.
All right, Howard.
Labor Day weekend is not one of the great movie-going weekends of the year, and that means that some good movies are being held over. You get a chance to catch up with them. Movies like Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo, one of his best performances as a man who lives through the photos that he develops for a family that comes into his store.
Yeah, it's an Oscar quality of performance. I also love Jennifer Aniston in The Good Girl. I think this is her breakout performance, making the transition from TV icon to real movie actor, film acting in this film.
That is a terrific film. And also, My Big Fat Greek Wedding just continues to grow week after week.
Nice Labor Day weekend selections. And we'll be right back.
Visit our website, ebertandroper.tv. Presented by the Walt Disney Collection.
Okay, recapping this week's movies, 2 thumbs down for fear.com, 2 thumbs up for Apollo 13, the IMAX experience, which opens September the 20th. 2 more thumbs up for City by the Sea, which opens next week. And we split on The Last Kiss.
Remember, you can hear all our recent reviews at ebertandroper.tv and read us in print at suntimes.com. Next week, our special show, Hanks and Cruz, Hollywood's Big Guns. Until then, the balcony is closed.
You know, Pauline Kael said the movies are so rarely great art that if we can't appreciate great trash, we might as well not go. And I would use that to defend both the good stuff in fear.com and also all of Anaconda.
There is no good stuff in fear.com. I don't know what you're talking about.
You can't beat the taste of a Quiznos oven-toasted sub made with the finest meats and cheeses. Try one today.
Toasty.
Before you go back to school, go to America Online.
It's the ultimate school supply.
America Online has everything your family needs to start school and throughout the year. So easy to use, no wonder it's #1.
Whirlwind Lightspeed, new from Eureka.
Eureka rocks. This dust cup rules. Even with 2 dogs and 2 cats, I couldn't even come close to filling this up.
Lightspeed from Eureka.
She's your baby. That's why you serve her all-natural Tyson chicken with no additives and minimal processing. Tyson, it's what your family deserves.
Closed captioning for Ebert and Roeper is brought to you by...
Take a closer look at Meineke. You'll like what you see. Now with any lifetime muffler, get a free oil change. Meineke, you won't pay a lot, but you'll get a lot.